Shraddha, are you Mridula's sister?
Yes, I'm elder sister, yeah.
Thank you for joining this webinar today. I'm going to begin with a prayer and chant a few sutras from the second chapter while we allow others to join. Today is a festival day in India. It's Ugadi, which is a new year for people in Andhra and Karnataka. I don't know. Is it only Andhra?
Andhra,
And
Telangana.
Karnataka. Yeah. So many of our friends, it's Mamta's festival today. She's here. So wishing everyone a happy Ugadi. Some of people may be joining a bit late. So we'll start with a prayer. योगेन चित्तस्य पदेन वाचां मलं शरीरस्य च वैद्यकेन योपाकरोत्तं प्रवरं मुनीनां पतञ्जलिं प्राञ्जलिरानतोऽस्मि आबाहुपुरुषाकारं शङ्खचक्रासिधारिणं सहस्रशिरसं श्वेतं प्रणमामि पतञ्जलिं श्रीमते अनन्ताय नागराजाय नमो नमः। श्रीकृष्णवागीशयतीश्वराभ्यां सम्प्राप्तचक्राङ्कणभाष्यसारं श्रीनूत्नरङ्गेन्द्रयतौ समर्पितस्वं श्रीकृष्णमार्यं गुरुवर्यमीडे विरोधे कार्तिके मासे शतताराकृतोदयं योगाचार्यं कृष्णमार्यं गुरुवर्यमहं भजे। श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। I'm just going to chant a few sutras from the second chapter. अथ साधनपादः तपः स्वाध्याय ईश्वरप्रणिधानानि क्रियायोगः समाधिभावनार्थः क्लेशतनूकरणार्थश्च अविद्या अस्मिता राग द्वेष अभिनिवेशाः क्लेशाः अविद्याक्षेत्रम् उत्तरेषां प्रसुप्ततनु विच्छिन्न उदाराणाम् अनित्य अशुचि दुःख अनात्मसु नित्य शुचि सुख आत्मख्यातिः अविद्या दृग्दर्शनशक्त्योः एकात्मता इव अस्मिता सुखानुशयी रागः दुःखानुशयी द्वेषः स्वरसवाही विदुषोऽपि समारूढः अभिनिवेशः ते प्रतिप्रसवहेयाः सूक्ष्माः ध्यानहेयाः तद्वृत्तयः क्लेशमूलः कर्माशयो दृष्टादृष्टजन्म वेदनीयः सति मूले तद्विपाको जात्यायुर्भोगाः ते ह्लादपरितापफलाः पुण्या पुण्यहेतुत्वात् परिणाम ताप संस्कार दुःखैः गुणवृत्तिविरोधाच्च दुःखमेव सर्वं विवेकिनः हेयं दुःखमनागतम्. Let's just do a short centering practice. So if you can sit with your back erect, make sure your feet is on the ground or a footrest. Keep your shoulders relaxed. You can keep your chin down. If you like, you can keep your eyes closed and just listen and follow the instructions. Just become aware of the space around you. With your eyes closed, just understanding, visualizing how the room is organized around you and the larger space beyond the room, beyond your house. The space all the way connecting to me and to everyone in this virtual space. Just become aware of that. And we experience sound through space. So begin to listen to the sounds coming from just around you. Maybe you can hear something through the window coming from somewhere in the street or far away in your garden. You may be also able to hear the sounds coming from my space here in Chennai. Tune in and simply listen. Listen to more and more subtle sounds, sounds coming from very far away. Expand your awareness to touch these sounds. And slowly bring your awareness to your body, to the sensation on your skin. Can you feel the temperature of the air around you? And can you feel the air moving within the body, the form of your breath? Slowly begin to deepen your exhalation and inhalation. With each inhalation, you continue to expand your awareness within, into the space of the mind. Become aware of your thoughts, any distractions, any preoccupations. Just be aware. Allow the thoughts to come and go. Just watch them. And if you recognize that you are holding on to a memory or a thought or something that you need to do, that you have to get back to, recognize what you may be holding on to right now. And as you exhale, just let go of it, just for now. Drop these thoughts allow them to settle in so that you can be fully present in this moment. You continue to breathe in and deepen your awareness. To even recognize very subtle forms of thought, just forming. Exhale, let go of it. You're just aware of the body, of the breath, and whatever is arising in the mind as you continue to listen to the sounds with your eyes closed. And now listen to the silence between the thoughts, between the words in a thought. The silence between the in-breath and the out-breath. Between the out-breath and the next in-breath. See if you can stay in that space of silence for a little while longer. And now we come back to the body. Just make sure you're sitting with your spine erect. Take 2 or 3 deep breaths. And see if you can continue to maintain this quality of awareness of everything that is arising and passing throughout the session today, as much as possible. Whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. Welcome to the webinar on the Tapas Intensive. For those of you who are new to the YogaVahini space, my name is Saraswathi. It's always a joy to come back to the Yoga Sādhanā space, whether it is for talking about it, whether it is for practicing or teaching or listening to each other. There's always something new that we learn about ourselves, about the world, about our relationship with people. There's always some growth that happens in the space. It's a very special space. We always think there's some higher energy that is operating through the space, and we just have to show up and that will take care of everything. That's what we do. So I wanted to give you a little bit of introduction to the Yoga Sādhanā itself. For those of you who have listened to me before, please bear with me, listen to me again. The Yoga Sādhanā is something that I started teaching many years ago. I would say before I even started formal training in Chennai. And then in Hyderabad for the longest time we have been doing, and Mamta, who's here, who was heading the Yoga Sādhanā team and running Yoga Sadhana programs in Hyderabad for a very long time. This started when a few friends of mine, very close friends, who were studying Yoga Sutra with me, and we would gather together in a small room, the terrace of a house that I had rented. We would come together on a Saturday morning. I would wake up early, cook some breakfast, bring it, and then we will all meet. We'll do a practice together, we will eat, and then we will discuss the Yoga Sutra. And then some of these friends said, see, we don't want to become yoga teachers, but we want to understand yoga properly. We want to practice. We want to understand how does the philosophy of yoga translate into practice. What is the connection? We really want to go deeper into it. And then I ran a 6-month-long Yoga Sadhana program in my house. And then Lekha came. Lekha unfortunately could not join today. It's a working day for her. So Lekha came and she said, I need a year-long Yoga Sadhana. 1 6-month program is not enough for me. So we started a year-long Yoga Sadhana program. And after that, many editions of Yoga Sadhana we have done, many formats. Initially it used to be all in person. We used to do like 8 weekends of coming together and studying and practicing and understanding, the basics of Yoga Sutra, practice. People even learned how to observe themselves, how to adapt a practice to their needs and all of that. Then when COVID hit, we had to move to the online format. We started doing online 8 weekends. And then sometime in 2023 or 24, we had our first Yoga Sadhana retreat after many years. And once we came together for that, the team realized that it will be a shame to just keep doing online programs. We have to do more in-person programs. But the online work has to continue because we really want to take this work to as many people as possible. So a few years ago, Lekha and I were sitting in my house in the village, and she said, no, I have an idea. We have to write a book on Yoga Sadhana. And we discussed about it. It was a Sunday morning. She made an Excel sheet and she gave me a format and she said, okay, this is what we should do. It took for me almost 2 years to actually make it into a book. So this is the book we have. Many of you may have copies of it. So what we realized was Yoga Sadhana basically is an effort to make yoga an integral part of our daily life. So people like me who came into the path, then became a teacher, now I'm doing therapy. It's such an integral part of my life because I'm waking up with yoga, I'm going to bed with yoga. It is part of my breath. But for a lot of people in the world, it is not so, right? So people may start with one practice, it's like you're plugging in yoga into some part of your day. People might say, I have 20 minutes, 30 minutes in a day. Sometimes people say, I can only practice 3 times a week. But somewhere, we want to introduce yoga. And then the power of yoga, the energy of yoga itself will expand. And slowly, it's like a ripple effect. It will start impacting many aspects of our life, our relationships, the way we think, the way we make decisions, the way we make choices about our food, our lifestyle. Many things begin to change at many levels, right? At the emotional level, how we deal with our emotions, the perception, how are we perceiving reality, how are we responding to the reality, all of these begin to change. So we realize that if we really want people to take up yoga and make it an integral part of their life, then we need to be able to communicate what is yoga and create a unified, coherent picture or understanding of yoga in people's mind through learning, through practice, and through each one experiencing yoga for oneself. And this cannot happen just by attending a group class 2 or 3 times a week or even 5 days a week, right? It has to happen through a different format, and this is what we have been exploring and experimenting with over the last 15 years. And this book is a product of that. So we understood that we just have to take one sutra. Okay, and all the other sutras somehow connect to this one sutra from the second chapter, Sādhanā, which is Kriya Yoga. Yeah. So how to bring yoga into daily actions? How to make yoga as part of our daily actions, because from the moment we wake up to the time we go to bed, there is some action the other we are doing, right? How to make it yoga? And how can those actions take us to a state of yoga, a quiet, clear mind that is capable of clear perception and appropriate actions? Fundamentally, it is about seeing how can I reduce my suffering, how can I reduce the suffering in the world. Okay, so if I don't learn to work with myself, I cannot really help anybody in this world, not even the person closest to me. That is what yoga says. And yoga and Sankhya clearly say that all the methods, all the ways in which science and technology and medicine and everything has evolved, there are solutions, but most of these solutions are incomplete, impermanent, and indefinite. They may work in some situation, they may not work in some situation. A new problem comes up every day, and we know that. Yeah. So there is only one way. You need to know yourself. If you know yourself, you will be free from dukkham, suffering, forever, permanent. This is a promise of yoga. Okay, and so this for me is such a powerful inspiration. Say that there is a way in which I can understand my suffering. I can understand why am I falling into this trap of pain and anger and frustration and guilt and shame and all of that. We are continuously moving from one thing to the other. There may be pockets of respite when we say, okay, finally this problem is solved, now I can take a deep breath, I can relax, go for a holiday. Sooner or later something else comes up. And we can't be firefighting all the time. Yeah, we can't be all the time outsourcing our problems and running outward for solutions, knowing that these solutions are all temporary. They will take us to a certain point beyond which we only can work with ourselves. Now, how to bring this to everyone in a very simple manner? Yeah, nobody has the time to sit and study all the Upanishads and all the sutras and all the commentaries of sutras. This is a text which has just 195 aphorisms that we have to study all our life. I don't know for how many lifetimes. So, like I said, this one sutra, which has only 3 words, Tapas Svadhyaya Pranidhana, is enough for a lifetime. Okay, if I understand these 3 words and what they mean and bring them into my daily life, I can pretty much know my path. I can know which is the direction I need to go. So this book is on tapas. We have 2 more in the pipeline, Svadhyaya and Ishvara Pranidhana. And the idea of the book came, then the book came. When the book came, the course also was born with it, because the book has 16 weeks of practice. Okay, so each week has a practice, and I'm going to ask Tarini to talk more about it because she made these beautiful drawings for the book in a little while. So we have these 16 weeks of practice, but there's only so much we can put into the practice as a suggestion or an instruction, right? Yoga needs a teacher. So like many different things that we have in life, like music, we have some music teachers here. Music or dance needs a guru, needs a teacher. We always need a teacher that we can go to and learn properly. The danger of AI and everything coming today is everybody thinks now I can DIY, do it yourself, right? I can just take something, take a manual and then do the practice and I can figure it out. I can fix the problems of my life. We can't fix any problem in our life, let me tell you right now. The practice is simply to cleanse ourselves continuously so that we have the clarity, so that we can progress, understand reality, understand ourselves better and better and better. The more we understand ourselves, we can also understand other people. And we can cause less problems to other people right? And we can also help other people. So this is the idea. Tapas is developing a very strong inner discipline of practice. Whatever be the choice that you make. Yeah, if you are a musician, there is tapas involved. That you have to do your practice every day. You have to follow strict diet restrictions. If you're a dancer, you have to do that, right? If you're a teacher, you have to do that. Everybody has some form of tapas. If you're a healer, a doctor, there is a tapas involved in it, right? But this form of tapas is about really cleansing oneself continuously using the fire, the inner fire, yeah, of clarity, of understanding. It is about really taking care of food, taking care of our speech. And tapas itself is such a powerful word because at a very basic level, can you see me, hear me? The power is coming and going. So at a basic level, we can say tapas is about eating the right food. Yeah, taking care of your digestive fire. Because your digestive fire is the one which is going to support your whole system to remain healthy. And Krishnamacharya also said it is important that you take care of speech. So the tongue, which is responsible for eating and speech, has to be taken care of through tapas. But at the highest level, tapas is to be completely anchored in your true nature. Yeah. So this 16 weeks of practice is interwoven with the various definitions of yoga. So every month for 12 plus 1 months, we have chosen one definition of yoga, one meaning of yoga from the Sanskrit lexicon Amarakosha and from the various definitions given to us, some by Krishnamacharya, some by Bhagavad Gita, Yoga Sutra, many of the other texts. We have taken these definitions, we have taken this idea of tapas, different aspects of tapas, and woven them together to create practices of asana, pranayama, and guidelines for journaling so that we can actually observe ourselves and write it down at the end of the day, whatever you observe about your practice, your reflections, and then the group comes together and shares. So in a little while, they will also share the format of the course. So it's a very beautiful way of bringing a community together that can practice and support each other. So the path of yoga, everyone has to walk alone. There is no choice. Yeah, we are all at different stages. What we choose and how we choose to walk this path may be very different, but we don't need to walk alone. I'm telling you two paradoxical statements. I'm saying we have to walk alone, but I'm saying you're not alone. We always need people to walk with. We need a community. So we have to be able to come back and share our challenges, talk about what is that we have discovered, so that we can continue to support and inspire each other and continue on this path, not giving up at any point. Yeah. So this is Yoga Sādhanā. And so when I started Yoga Sādhanā, the quality of the people who come in and the quality of sharing is very, very unique, very subtle, very beautiful. And of course, parallelly, we are also doing training programs. We have been training people to become yoga teachers and yoga therapists. But when we come into a training space, a different part of us comes alive. We then thinking about information, putting things together. I have to learn something. I have to, imbibe some skills so that I can go and apply it on somebody. But Yoga Sadhana is about really working with oneself. So we have made Yoga Sadhana as mandatory if anybody wants to train to become a teacher in this tradition with YogaVahini. We have done 16 weeks of tapas already. More than 60 people attended this program, and we had a large team that took care of this. It was completely online. Then we did a retreat with close to 20 people, I think, 15 to 20 people who came for the retreat. And it was such a joyful gathering. where we explored some of these practices and teachings at a deeper level. And now we are also offering the teacher training program, and for this Tapas Intensive or the 16-week Tapas becomes mandatory. So the Tapas Intensive, which is a condensed form of the 16-week program, which is just going to run over the next 8 weeks, April to May, will carry the same practices. Instead of having one practice a week, we will have 2 practices a week. It will be intensive, and we will be looking at the format shortly. So the idea is to really establish a strong foundation for one's own practice and understand why we are doing what we are doing. Why are we doing this breathing? Why are we combining breath with movement? What is the value of doing a practice dynamically versus stay? How to work with the breath? What is this Yoga Sutra and what is it talking about? How do we really bring it into our life to understand many aspects of our life, or I would say every aspect of our life? So it's almost like, peeling away layers and layers to see more and more of what we really need to see to make our life better. That's all I would say, right? To make our life better and to make the life of other people around us better and contribute to a more peaceful, harmonious world. And I think the world needs yoga today more than any other time. And I think any time in history we could say that, but today more than any other time, this need for yoga is really big. And we need more yoga practitioners. Okay, you can be a yoga teacher, but being a yoga practitioner and walking with other practitioners and sharing about our joys and learnings and challenges, and learning from each other as a community is the most important thing, I would say, more than anything else. Okay, so I want to introduce the team. Lekha, of course, the person who was instrumental behind this book, and also Lekha in some way kept this whole course alive for us because of her enthusiasm and her investment in Yoga Sadhana. Even though she's a full-time, she's heading a company, she's a full-time mom of 2 adolescent daughters. I don't know how she finds the time, but she is always holding the Yoga Sadhana space for us. And Mamta is here. Can you highlight Mamta, please? She's my very sweet, silent partner who's been with me since the time I started teaching yoga outside of KYM. Since 2008, Mamta, 2007 or 8?
2008. 2007, yes. Yes, actually, 2007.
Yeah. So Mamta is like my alter ego, somehow she understands how I work, and she has stayed with me, companioned me through all the ups and downs. And she started Yoga Sadhana in Hyderabad many years ago. Then of course she moved abroad, and then she came back, and then she keeps moving up and down, but somehow we have asked her to come back into the space again to anchor this program. Some of you know Gauri and Krishna, who were also part of this course before. They're not here. So they were part of the Yoga Sadhana team. Of course, sometime in future they would be able to come back. Then we have Aarti, Tarini. Can you pin all of us? Aarti, Tarini, Pratima. So those of you who have done the 16-week tapas and also part of the other program, Yoga Sutra program, you're familiar with all of us. Aarti has done her teacher training and therapy training with YogaVahini, and she continues to very actively support many of our programs. And when Aarti is in a course, I don't have to worry too much about anything. She'll say, yes ma'am, I will take care. Thank you, Aarti. And I'm going to ask each of them to share a little bit about this program. And then we have Tarini, and I don't think without Tarini the book would have come out. So initially I was very enthusiastic. I thought I'm going to draw all these practices. And I was learning how to draw them using a particular app. Then I realized very soon, in one day, that I can't do this. So I asked Tarini to do the drawings, and she has done such a beautiful, meticulous job for all the 3 volumes, right? And many, many iterations. It's not easy to please me, but she has done a wonderful job, and she continues to support us. Also, she's part of the marketing team and very enthusiastic learner as well. So thank you, Tarini. Pratima is very, very quiet. She will also share a little bit more. And Pratima is something like my research associate, somebody who has a very strong sense of how to work with data, how to understand something, how to put it into words. She has helped all our publications, particularly the Yoga Sadhana book, to mark the Sanskrit words, put the diacritical marks, and she has such a keen eye for detail. Nothing escapes her eyes. Thank you, Pratima, for your support. And Lekha, of course, many of you know. Did I miss anyone? Okay. So now I'm going to ask Tarini to share a little bit about your experience.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for the lovely introduction. And so I'm here to share what it was like to, work on the book, Yoga Sadhana, and also share a bit about what we've observed over the last Tapas course, the 4 months course. So when Sādhana first asked me, she's like, can you show me this app that you use to draw? And then very quickly I showed it to her, and then very quickly she's like, can you just draw them? And so we did. And it was a lovely journey to bring us all together, everyone from the Sangha together in creating each practice, because we saw early on, okay, we have these ideas to create the practice, but let's see how it works for everybody, for all bodies, all types of bodies. Everybody in practice will have a different experience with it. So we brought in everybody's feedback of each of the practices and just kept on tweaking them a little bit, kept on changing them as per all of everybody's feedback. And so really it wasn't just 1 or 2 people, it was a whole community of everybody coming together to really perfect and refine these practices. And then once it actually came out, just so happy. The first time I saw Sādhana, like holding it up all proud, and it brought a tear to my eye, because it was just so much work and so much love that went into this book. The first book, now the next 2 are coming out too, so it still continues. And even more so, though, what deepened it for me was when I was asked to help. We had a very big, overwhelmingly beautiful response to when the course came out, and so there was no more support that was needed to support everybody in the group. And so I was asked to come on. And part of that was to watch and guide like the recordings of the practice. So each of the practices we came off with, they were professionally recorded and taught by Saraswathi. So what's beautiful about it, from what I understand from previous yoga sadhana courses, is that each of the practices, the participants feel really personally guided by Saraswathi. And it's Arati and I, and the rest of the team are there sometimes too, that are watching everybody. And we'll go over the structure of how the timings of the practices are. But for me, as somebody that was helping to draw the practices, it really put a face to all of these little stick figures that are here. And it helped us even think of, okay, in coming out with Swadhyaya and Ishvara Pranidhana, how can we keep in mind everybody's experience and feedback from the first course. So that's what's going into the next 2 volumes coming out soon. And so then, yeah, it's beautiful to be a part of the continual learning and to see that these little 5 or 10 minutes after the practice, we save enough time for these journaling prompts, right? And I don't know about any of you, but for me, journaling is probably the hardest tapas practice. I still will admit that that's probably the least regular of all of the practices that I do. But it's always in my aspiration. But Sawdust even reads out these journaling prompts, and we give like 5 minutes for everybody to ask or journal and then ask questions afterwards. And the quality of questions that have come out, definitely in the early days of me practicing, I don't think I had any awareness of that. I was always concerned with how my foot goes or how my leg goes or something, more at the gross level. But many people are going really deep with it. Like, oh, I'm noticing this quality of the breath, or I'm noticing this thought come up in the mind. Like, it's really bringing them to deeper and deeper levels and awarenesses of themselves. And to watch the transformation over the 4 months was really beautiful to witness. And then even more so, we just had the retreat, right? And I don't know about you guys, but I've been a part of many retreats, both with YogaVahini and other types of retreats. And I was amazed at the level of depth. I mean, we had like our 1.5 hour on the mat, but then the rest of the learning through our sessions, it just felt so deep and so intimate. And the ways that people were able to share about what they were facing, the hardships they were facing in their lives, or the ways that they've come through things. I just felt like since we had that 4-month journey all together, it made that in-person experience just that much deeper. And that was at least my experience of it. So anyway, I think I'm over my few minutes for the share, but so we'll move on to Arati, who's going to share a little bit more about who this course, who Tapas Intensive, and who Yoga Sadhana in general is for. Thank you for letting me share.
Hello. Thank you, Thank you, Tarini. I will say +1 to many things that she said. She kept saying, I don't know if it was just me, and in my mind, I kept saying, no, I will also say +1 to it, because the retreat, we saw the community feel, like what ma'am said, bringing in that Sangha, and we saw that, like how everyone shared deeply from a very deeper space. The model was like that, and everyone, it felt as though they were not just listening, they were also part of the other person's feeling. They connected with the emotion so deeply. So each day was a deeper journey that way. And I think, like Tarini shared, it was because of traveling these 4 months together, really practicing together, breathing together. Remember the month 1, week 1, how it started. And then at month 4, week 4, we saw the way people were practicing the breath. I mean, the breath was really leading the movement. And when we were discussing in our core team, we said, ma'am, you should see the way the breath is moving, how they are experiencing the posture. It's no more about the foot or the hand movement or anything. They're able to feel the breath. There was one sharing. She said, in this posture, in the 3rd breath, I feel this particular way. But in the 4th breath, it becomes this way. We're like, wow, that is so precise and that is so deep. What an amazing connection. And so, yeah, now to move on to who this is for. So this practice is for the people who have done tapas already with us, just to be a part of this journey again and to prepare to, move on to Swadhyaya. Next, it's also for absolutely new beginners, because tapas becomes like a mandatory practice as a beginner, because we speak about all, ma'am has brought in all the different principles of practice in the book. So it's like a foundation to progress to Swadhyaya and Ishvara Pranidhana. Without tapas, a person cannot directly come into Swadhyaya. So that is one more group for whom this tapas intensive is very important. The next one is for active teachers in this tradition, I want to say. So since I just got lucky, since I'm part of the team, we always get to practice it before we have to share it with everyone. So, and I've been teaching and studying and learning with ma'am for so many years. So every time that we practice, there is something deeper that shifts, connects, happens from within for me. So like Tarani said, I've also had a lot of challenge with journaling for a long time now. And it has been my aspiration, inspiration, sankalpa for so many years. But in the last 4 months, now I should say 6 months with tapas, I have actually not missed one day of journaling. I don't know how it is. It's like finally just staying with the practice. And ma'am says, stay with the practice, hold that intention and breathe into it. Yeah, the prana flows into that intention. And I saw that. Now I'm seeing it. Every day, even if I travel, I take my journal along. So I'm really tired at the end of the day. At least 2 lines, I write something. And as a teacher, how has that helped me? It has helped me connect deeper with my students. There is a, like how ma'am said, that when you do the sadhana, you understand yourself, and that helps you to understand the other person. And of course, there is always that some higher energy out there. So just being open to receive and then share it with the students. So I think as active teachers, from my personal experience, that is very inspiring and powerful. Now, this Tapas Intensive is also for teachers who have been with us, or for teachers from the different tradition. For some reason, the practice has dropped off, or, you want to restart again. Then again, it's a wonderful place to start again. Then it is for absolute beginners who don't know anything about yoga. We have had some students inquire this way. I don't know anything about yoga. And then he said, that's okay, no problem. Just come join us in this journey. We'll all practice together. So it's for that group also. So yeah, I'm looking forward to practicing with all of you now. Thank you so much. And from here, we will move on. I would like to call in Pratima. She is actually a participant who has done Yoga Sādhanā with YogaVahini in the past. And she is a part of our team, like ma'am was saying. So, Pratima, over to you.
Thank you, Aarti. Hello, everyone. Today I have the opportunity to share my journey as a participant in the first sadhana program that I did. And also now from the other side also, I feel that I'm lucky that I'm still here as a student and able to understand so many other aspects of the same concepts. So I first joined the Sādhanā course in 2022. I think it was a March to May 2022 batch. The COVID batch, I can say it was totally online. And I had already completed my teacher's training program in KYM at that time. And when I was going through the YogaVahini website and I saw that the Yoga Vaidya course, which was my aspiration to be a yoga therapist, the Yoga Sadhana was a prerequisite for that. So that was the reason why I enrolled for the Yoga Sadhana program. And so when I came for the Yoga Sadhana program, I had already studied yoga philosophy. And I had also become familiar with the theory of Yoga Sutras. But it was only when the program started, I saw that there was so much else that the Yoga Sutras were offering. I was really mesmerized and fascinated by what the sutras are offering, and it created a lot of awareness about how these can be applied to the day-to-day situations of life. So it was not just a philosophy or just not a like a concept to study, but also this course helped in integrating these practices with the day-to-day situations. So this 8 weeks of this weekend program, it had a very good combination of concepts, practices, activities, triads, and it created a very, very beautiful group of the participants who would initially slowly but later with full open heartedness they would share, they will contribute, and even the deepest of their understandings they wouldn't hesitate. So this space was always a very I can say a secure place, a very safe place where we all shared, we all bonded, and we all experienced lot of these concepts together. And of course this was all with the support of the mentors and also a lot of practices. But now I see that it has been, the sadhana course itself has been evolving over these years, and it is a very beautiful journey for me also to see that every time there is something more that I can learn, there is something more that I realize, that I observe. So I feel that in the process the mind has become more reflective. Initially, I did not even know what is to reflect. But when we journal and we note down so many things, it is all about how the mind reflects on these concepts and takes us deeper and deeper and deeper into the same concept to understand us better. And over the period, the current format of the yoga sadhana is, I think, a evolved version of the earlier one which I attended. So there are now lot of focused based practices, like as Saraswati said, the book itself has practices based on that particular module, that is tapas, swadhyay, and they're all linked to each other. There is a lot of guided practice. I would say that the recordings are there, live teachers are there, and of course everything is like Saraswati is giving us the practice since they are recorded by her. And through these focus, the mind also develops, the body develops, the breath develops, and sliding very effortlessly into the next focus. And then there are journaling guidelines, so a person without getting into the routine immediately after the practice can journal and see how their thought process also has developed. And then there is also a lot of sharing that is happening. Sharing also, I think, only when we know ourselves and we understand ourselves we can share. So that also journey, I'm observing that many of the participants are truly understanding their own nature. It is just the beginning, but it has already, the journey has begun. And as many of us shared, every module has a mandatory retreat, which I thought was extremely, I can say, a lively experience for me, even though I participated for just a week. Just the space and just the venue and just the support of everybody around us created a feeling of a sangha which is thriving together, which is growing together, which is say, like sharing together, and which is just walking with each other. Like as we all experience, like we were there in our own spaces, but we were there in a larger space where all the like-minded people who had participated, they were supporting each other. And it was a beautiful sangha where I felt like I could just be myself. I didn't have to be anybody else in that space. So this, I feel, is the journey which started then, and it is still continuing for me. And I'm so happy that I'm part of this. And with this sangha, I'm again going to experience something more about myself. Thank you. And now I request Saraswati to share something more about this program.
Thank you, Pratima. I am going to ask Mamta to come in. And Mamta, it will be nice to listen to you to, understand how your journey has been with Yoga Sadhana.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for joining us today. It's a long journey, and I'm looking forward to the even longer journey. When I first heard the Yoga Sutras chanted, I was very drawn to them. I was drawn to the sound. I didn't even know the meaning at that time, but I was totally drawn to the sound of the sutras. And as I was training with Saraswati to be a teacher, there was always a part of me that would ask certain questions every time Saraswati went into the philosophy of yoga. There was this feeling of this is not enough for me. While I thoroughly enjoyed preparing myself to be a teacher with all the asanas, pranayama practices, pratyahara practices, but there was a part of me that wanted more. I wanted more. And then I used to ask Saraswati also, can I actually do, but once I had not attended Saraswati's Yoga Sadhana because it was in Chennai. She had done it for 6 months. But she had done a shorter version of it. And I was so drawn into it that I would ask her, can I do something in Hyderabad also? I'd like to do something in Hyderabad. She said, feel free to do that. And then I had run a couple of Yoga Sadhana programs in person, 8-week programs back then is what we had done. But they were so enriching for me because every time I facilitated, I also became a participant in a certain sense. And it allowed me to see a different facet of myself every single time. And I saw a difference between how I was, even as a participant and as a facilitator in Yoga Sadhana. And I won't say versus, but in the teacher training space. So there is a need to learn something. There is a need to be perfect. There is a need to ask, am I doing well? There's a need to look around and say, is she better than me or is he better than me? And am I good enough to be a teacher and all of that? But with the Yoga Sadhana, it was like, I'm here because I want to be here and I want to know myself better. And in the process, I've learned to hold another person's sharing, like really hold, really listen. And I think that's something that all of us who have experienced the Yoga Sadhana have experienced that that we were held and we had become the space to hold. And that was such a beautiful thing and from that, we also had people asking us if they can join the Acharya or the teacher training program. And it really seemed like the most natural thing. The most important thing was one had to experience the Yoga Sadhana, one had to go through the Yoga Sadhana, because the idea of, for example, tapas, it's not about forcing ourselves to do something and stay with it. It is about consistency. It is about being consistent with something, being able to, allowing the inner fire to observe, to stay with it. And thereby that is what clears that layers and allows us to see one reflection after another about our own selves. And once we've done that, we're getting into a teacher training program with that experience. How I'm going to see the whole training program will be a little different, right? So we had a lot of participants from the Yoga Sadhana coming into the teacher training program. And I think that was the most organic and the most wonderful way to get into teacher training is through the Yoga Sadhana. And I just the idea of previously, when I read about tapas, I mean, before the exposure to the Yoga Sutras, for me, tapas was always something very intensive, very difficult. almost bordering on torturous. But then over the years, I've understood that tapas is about consistency. And it is one of the most difficult things too. As simple as it is also very difficult. So to actually be consistent enough, will myself to become consistent and thereby ease into it, like really ease into it, and then it becomes effortless. But that is like almost a moment to moment thing. It's not like I've eased into it and then I'm okay for the rest of my life. Then life happens, I fall, then again it becomes something I have to build the consistency and again ease into it. It is challenging, but it also is very simple if we have to actually look at it and say, okay, what is my difficulty? Why is my mind resisting this when I enjoy it and I know it's good for me? So that, again, that question allowed me to understand a facet of myself. So this is a beautiful, never-ending journey for me, and I hope it is for everybody also. And I'm very excited and looking forward to the next leg. Thank you, Saras.
Thank you, Mamta. I have to say that the Yoga Sadhana program is really such a beautiful foundation that now if anybody who does the Yoga Sadhana wants to also become a teacher, we just have to plug in a few things, a few necessary aspects, that they may have to learn to become a teacher, and it's so easy to do it because the foundation is very good. They already have a good understanding of practice, the principles, Yoga Sutra. Experiential understanding is so much more powerful. And then getting them to understand basic principles of how to design practices, how to teach somebody, how to hold the space for another person's evolution is so easy because they have gone through it, right? So I am personally very excited about Yoga Sadhana slowly transitioning into the space of people wanting to learn to teach, wanting to bring the essence of yoga to more people the way they have experienced it. I'm going to now ask Tarini to share the structure of the program that maybe people may want to know.
Yes. Okay. So just one moment. I'm going to share the screen of the website, and we'll put the link to the website in this chat box. But then also, like what we'd like to do is outline the, I hope everyone can see the screen, but we'd like to outline the, like the structure, how it can really, no matter what your time zone is, there's a class for you that works in one of your times of the day, So so it begins, it's April 4th through May 28th online. And we're going to begin with one of our reflection and inquiry sessions on April 4th at 6 p.m. in IST. So the website gives a little bit of the, things that we've just basically talked about in this session. And who is this program for? Things like that. So what's happening is we are condensing the whole 16 practices down to the 8 weeks. So there'll be 2 practices per week that you see. And then, so the weekly sessions are going to be on Monday and Thursday, okay? So the timings of those are here. So the weekly practice sessions, both Mondays and Thursdays, will be 6 to 7:15 IST, 11 to 12:15 IST, and 4:30 to 5:45, and 6:30 to 7:45. And that's because all across the world, that will fit into some of your schedules, right? At least that's what we found in the first group. Now, one thing I'd like to say, though we've kept this to an hour and 15 minutes, that's ideally the practice is around an hour. Then we have where we listen to the journaling guidelines, give a few minutes to jot down some points for your journaling just after practice, and then we open it up for question and answer. Now, there are, I think a little further into the book, there are a few practices that do go because of the meditation, because of extended pranayama and all. They go into about an hour and 15 minutes. So my suggestion is to maybe allot, like especially towards the end of the 2 months, allot an hour and a half if possible, so that then you don't feel like you're missing out on the question and answer session and all. But generally, they're about an hour and 15 minutes, so we've kept it there. And these are all of the dates. So Mondays and Thursdays throughout the week are the practice sessions. Now, the reflection and inquiry master classes, those will be facilitated by all of us. And where Sādhana will be there, basically the whole team will be there. And that's going to be held. This is something that's different than the original Tapas course that just happened, where we used to alternate Saturday sessions between morning and evening. Now, every week, the session will be from 6 to 8 p.m. IST, and a very similar, almost repeat, but little differences of the session will be also held 6 to 8 a.m. IST on that following Sunday. So anyone that's a part of the Yoga Sutra, the concurrent course that's going on right now, the Yoga Sutra for Healing, all of these dates will also, like, they will not coincide with that. So it's possible for you to be a part of both courses. So all of the dates are clearly marked here. And then, so you can go in, we'll be sharing the link along with the recording of this session into your email and also the chat box for you to be able to register easily, or you can email us and I'll also put that into the chat. Okay.
Thank you, Tarini.
Let me know if I missed anything.
It's fine.
Ma'am, may I add?
Yeah.
So we also have a WhatsApp group that really keeps our Sangha, the community, feel going. So even though people, we share after the practice because it's fresh immediately, you know, after journey you want to share. But there are some very deep questions that come up at that time. And ma'am has always asked us to, you know, sometimes just stay with the question. So when I was asked a few questions like this, I said, please share the question in the group. And I'm going to repeat ma'am's word. Stay with it for a bit. If it's a reflection, you know, if it is a doubt that you want clarified, it's different. But if it was an experience from the practice, to stay with it and share it in the larger group, because there are a lot of others also who would resonate with it. And they would bring in their sharing, and we saw a huge discussion would come up, and there were some beautiful poems that we got to read from evocations. And so that really had that holding of a Sangha, the community going. So that was also a very deep part of it, actually. I just wanted to add that.
Thank you, Aarti. Yeah, so anyone has any questions?
Can I ask one question?
Vinit.
Yeah.
Hi, Vinit.
Vinny.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So I have one question. So as I'm attending the Yoga Sutra Yasna program, so wanted to, like, it's question only relevant for me, maybe. So you can take it here or maybe whatever is the right channel. So I wanted to really focus. So along with the Yoga Sutra Yasna, I really wanted to focus on the asana pranayama aspect of it in the Krishnamacharya style.
Yeah.
And I've been asking for that since many months, but I think maybe some instructors have revealed that was not happening as I was talking with RK. So would this program be the best option to have that, or there are other offerings of YogaVahini?
I think this will be the best option. In fact, I was going to talk to RK about opening it out to also the YSYS participants, because this is going to give you that foundation of daily practice. We are introducing all the principles of practice step by step. and it's going to be an 8-week journey. So this will be perfect complementary to the YSYS program that you're doing.
Okay,
And also
got it.
the other Yoga Sutra program that I'm teaching. So it will go together perfectly.
Great, great. One other logistics question I had. So the reflective session, which is on Saturday, Sunday, is that mostly a repetition that a participant can attend one of them, or they
You
would?
can attend one of them, that will be more than enough. If you have the
Okay.
time, you can attend both. We will
Okay.
also share the recordings of both the sessions. So
Oh, great.
invariably, the kind of questions that come up, depending on who the participants are in that session, might bring up something more. So what we have found is it's very difficult to replicate exactly what we talk on Saturday, on Sunday, right? So there will be some differences, but by and large, we would say if you attend one of these sessions, that will be more than enough.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Quite a few new people, some of you I haven't met before probably, or it will be nice to hear from you. Do you have any questions or anything to share? Yes, Monica, you want to ask?
Yes, I do. Hello, everybody.
Hi.
I just wanted to know, Tapas Intensive was different, or is it different to the Sādhanā that we did before? That was the precursor to the Acharya program.
It is different because Tapas Intensive is entirely based on the book, the yoga, this practice companion. So we follow these practices. We engage with the concepts that the book talks about. We go deeper into these practices. So it's primarily focusing on tapas and the different connections between tapas and the other aspects. Yeah, so it is different from the regular sadhana that you may have done before.
Thank you.
Okay, so if you don't have any more questions, shall we complete with the short practice? Mamta?
Right. Just is everyone okay to stand up? We've been sitting for a while now. Okay. So just stand with your feet together if you're comfortable, or slightly wide if that works better for you. Arms by your side, palms relaxed, shoulders relaxed, spine straight. Try not to arch your lower back, keep your knees relaxed. And just stay here, try and just observe the body if there's any swaying. See if you can just bring your body to stillness. Don't push it, just take a couple of breaths here. Just observing the body. Observing any need to move. If you have your eyes closed, you may open them now and keep your gaze straight ahead or slightly down at one point. As you inhale, raise your arms from the side, only the arm all the way up, and see if you can join your palms together. If it's a challenge, let's just keep it wide. On the exhale, bring your arms down from the side all the way down. Do this once more, keeping your feet firm on the floor, knees relaxed. Inhale, arms up from the side. You can keep the arms wide if you like, or join the palms. On the exhale, bring your arms down. Palms facing down, bring your arms down. We'll do this 2 more times. This time, just look up when you take your arms up. Don't throw the head back, just look up. And as you exhale, bring your chin down slowly as you're bringing your arms down. One more time. If there's any difficulty looking up, just look straight ahead. This time we will pause for 1 or 2 seconds after every inhale and exhale. So as you inhale, bring your arms together. Just pause there, stilling your body as you start the exhale and start your movement. We will do 2 more of the Tadasana with the fingers interlaced. Once you go up, interlace your fingers, turn them out, and on exhale, raise your heels off the floor. Don't look up, look straight ahead or look down at one point. Stay there for a breath. On the next exhale, start lowering your arms and gently lower your heels. Two more times. Just remember to pause after the inhale and the exhale. Interlace your fingers, turn them out. Stay there for a breath. Exhale and inhale. On the next exhale, you can come down. Back into what we call Samasthiti. Stand straight. Keep your knees relaxed. Just observe your neck, observe your shoulders. Observe your ankles, knees, and your breath. While you're doing that, see if you can just keep your body still. Now we'll do a forward bend. If anybody has a challenge going all the way down, make sure you have a chair or a table close by that you could use for support. On inhale, raise your arms from the front, all the way up from the front, stretch up. As you exhale, go into a forward bend, bend down, initiate the movement from the hips, go all the way down, keep your knees relaxed, bent even. Inhale, stretch your arms out to the level of your ears and come up. Come all the way up. Exhale, bring your arms down. Once again, inhale. Pause. As you start the exhale, draw the lower abdomen in, go down from your hips, all the way down. Bend your knees as much as you need to. On the inhale, stretch your arms out and come up. Exhale, arms down. This time you will stay for a breath. Two more times, stay for a breath in the posture and then come up. At your pace. Stay for a whole breath in the posture. When you're finished, come back to Samasthiti. Just observe your breath. Observe your neck, lower back. Once your breath is back to normal, you may come and sit down. We will do a pranayama practice. We will start with the Avahanam, an invitation. To invite prana into our body, into our whole being. So we start with, keep the palms open. And we start with, as we inhale, inviting the prana. And as we exhale, allowing it to just settle down. Yeah. So start, inhale. Pause. And as you exhale, relax your chest, relax your shoulders, bring your chin down and allow it to settle down. 4 more breaths. Try not to throw your head back too much. Just work with the sternum as you're inhaling. When you're finished, continue to sit with your eyes closed. Bring your attention to the dip at your throat. Just keep your attention there and start breathing without pushing your breath. Just try and Slowly lengthen your inhale and exhale. Feel the rib cage expanding as you inhale. Pause for a second, and as you exhale, gently draw the lower abdomen in, relaxing your chest. Keep your chin slightly low. It helps to focus on the dip at the throat. Six more breaths. When you're finished with regulating your breath, come back to your normal breath. Just become aware of all the sounds around you. Become aware of your surroundings. Become aware of how you're seated. When the thoughts come, just observe the response in your body and allow it to leave. Slowly bring the palms together, the center of your chest, in the Anjali Mudra. Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Open your eyes when you're ready. Thank you.
Thank you, Mamta. You can see we can do quite a lot in a short time. Yeah, just a 15-minute practice or 13-minute practice, that's all. But we got to do quite a lot. Thank you, Mamta. Okay, so we will close the session unless somebody has some question or anything to share. Yes, June.
Yoga Sadhana in 2022 is very strong for me. Presented a very powerful mirror. And actually had to step really back from so many things in my life. And it also included stepping back from yoga too. So there was was observing what happens when I'm not trying to take things on and trying to do things. And so that doesn't work either when you don't do enough. So very beautiful to come back this evening. Resonate very strongly with how you were speaking about the practice, step, the reflective process, and yeah, very nice to be here again.
Yeah. So welcome back to Yoga Sadhana. Yes, Vineet, I will share it with the larger YSYS group as well. Thank you, Vineet. Okay, so shall we close for today? Thank you for joining, everyone.